can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're going to be talking about Superman #5 by Joshua Williamson and Jamal Campbell. This issue is pretty damn wild, and the reason why I say that is because in this, we get a couple of really big things that happen. Now, of course, there is a little bit more of the deep diving into how Jimmy Olsen and Silver Banshee got together. That part is all very sweet and very amazing and cool to witness, and you're actually seeing character growth and progression in this series, with one of not necessarily like Superman's greatest of arch nemesis, but like, just a villain that has been around for a really long time and has been very antagonistic towards both Superman and the rest of the super family. It was just kind of nice to see all that play out in a way that wasn't just stereotypical superhero comic fare. The thing that I really want to focus on, though, is something that happens in this issue as a direct result of Superman in his fight against Silver Banshee, while she is still under the impression that if she doesn't do what Graf and Dr. Farm want her to do, she is going to lose everything and everyone that she loves, and right now, one of those things is Jimmy Olsen. Her power, as we talked about in the previous issue, has been amplified to levels that are beyond anything she's ever had before. This is very likely the result of the Jewel K kryptonite that was on Dr. Farm's claw, because it is stated that her power has been amplified by the Phantom Zone, which is why Silver Banshee cannot control her Banshee scream. She even says herself that the power is just trying to get out of her. All of that has technically been taken care of, but the damage has already been done because her scream was actually powerful enough to affect Superman's inner ear, to the point that his super hearing is completely gone. Now, this would probably seem like not the biggest inconvenience in the world for a guy who can already lift a near infinite amount of weight, who can fly faster than the speed of light, a guy who is literally impervious to all but the greenest of rocks. But the reason why this is actually one of the biggest inconveniences that Superman has had in quite some time, and why it spells mortal trouble for Lex Luthor, is because while Lex does seem like he has genuinely been trying to change, we see in this issue that he actually tried to offer a non-lethal suggestion to Superman on how to take down Silver Banshee. It's really easy to forget sometimes that, yeah, maybe he does have the capacity to change. And in this issue, Lex Luthor is even reflecting on how he wishes that he would have worked with Superman back during their Smallville days, that they would have actually come together and worked as a united front, because he himself is starting to realize that, well, yes, he believed they could make a really good team if they worked together, and it's why he gave Superman LexCorp and rebranded it Supercorp, and all the other stuff he's been trying to do as of late. But he's starting to realize, with the benefit of hindsight, that maybe they could have done this a lot sooner. And it sucks that he is only starting to realize this truly in his head now, because while he is trying to tell all this to Superman, Superman is not responding because Superman's super hearing is gone. Superman is out having a fantastic time with his wife Lois, his best pal Jimmy Olsen, and his former nemesis turned, I guess, now acquaintance by virtue of the fact that she is now dating and in love with Jimmy Olsen, Silver Banshee. The idea now is that Superman is off having the time of his life, actually being able to enjoy listening to a live performance, also by Silver Banshee and her band, the Banshees of Metropolis, but he's actually being able to be a normal human for once, because he's not hearing all of the world's problems while he's out just trying to live a normal day. And it sucks for Lex Luthor because Graf and Dr. Farm have ordered a hit on Lex Luthor in Stryker's Island, and this is one of those moments, like, and I don't know if anyone else had this particular thing pop into their head. I guess it's because I grew up in a time where HBO used to have this series called Oz, and in Oz, one of three things was always happening. People were either plotting to kill each other or killing each other, and then other times they were sexually assaulting one another. But in this particular instance, Lex Luthor is getting caught in the second one. Lex Luthor gets shivved multiple times in this issue. And what was actually something that took me all the way back to that series, because there were multiple instances where someone, a prisoner within Oz would be getting transported to another part of the prison, for one reason or another. And then all of a sudden the prison guards would just disappear. And then all of a sudden other prisoners would come out and then, shank and or kill the prisoner that was being transported. It was a pretty common thing that actually happened on the show. And it's actually a thing that probably happens more often in real life prison than people might want to admit. However, what made this even more harrowing is just the fact that Luthor was literally spilling his heart out to Superman, and Superman didn't hear any of it. Now, Lex is a pretty manipulative guy. There's nothing that necessarily excludes him from having the foresight to realize that maybe Superman's inner ear isn't quite working as it should, and he's just talking to him willy-nilly. You're trying to make it seem as though he's changed. But the thing is, this is not a meta story, so there's no reason why Lex would have the foresight to say this for the readers and not say it for Superman. So yeah, I think that he actually is legitimately trying to change. The Lex that we have known is not necessarily the Lex of today. Either way, Lex is most certainly having turned over a new leaf, but right now he is lying in a pool of his own blood in Stryker's Island, and right now Superman is incapable of using his super hearing to even know that Lex is in danger. This is made even more crazy by the fact that he even gave Lex that signal watch so that it would make it easier for Lex to communicate with Superman while he was in prison. While Superman could always hear Lex no matter where he was, Lex couldn't hear him respond. Like all the other times that Lex was talking to Superman, it was a one-sided conversation because he was just talking to Superman and just assuming, and rightfully so, what Superman was going to say next. The signal watch was his way of being able to hear Superman back. Regardless of whatever happens next, because I don't think Lex is going to die from this. I do think it's going to put Lex out of commission for a while, but I think the thing that is really going to be the sticking point between Superman and Lex going forward is that Superman has met Graf and Dr. Farm almost face to face, and while their meeting doesn't go quite as good as either side probably would have hoped, the idea is that Graf and Dr. Farm have put a bug in Superman's ear about Lex, something that Lex has been keeping from Superman, something referred to as Project Chained. It's never explicitly said what it is only mentioned by name. Really, the only information we have about Project Chained is that it's not a what, that it's a who. So the only thing we know about Project Chained is that it is a person, it is someone, and we have no idea who it is. Either way, I think we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to figure out what that is. And we also can't forget about the character of Marilyn Moonlight, who, well, technically they made their debut in one of the previous issues. We really haven't seen much more of Marilyn Moonlight since, but we do know she is keeping tabs on Superman currently, but we don't really know what her interest is with the Man of Steel quite yet. But anyway, that's everything I really want to talk about with Superman number 6. I thought this issue was pretty damn solid, and I like where it's going. I love what Joshua Williamson and Jamal Campbell are doing with Lex Luthor, building him up as someone who may actually legitimately be trying to have a redemption arc. And anyone who's been following this channel for any stretch of time, you probably already know this, but I love a redemption story, especially for a villain. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, do the YouTube thing, like, share, comment, subscribe, and make sure you tap that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that I put out. We're still pushing for 100K this year, so do me a favor, make sure you hit that big red button. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, let me know what you thought about Superman number 5. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.